Welcome to everyone. Welcome to our International Working Group for Organizations Caring for the Families of Military and Conflict Deceased. This is our third annual gathering, and what a challenging year in 2020 it has been. I'm so sorry that we can't be together in person to have all of those robust conversations looking eye to eye, but we are doing the best we can and coming together from around the world in this virtual hub. So we're very, very excited to have representation from all corners of the world. We planned our program around Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, that seemed to be the most central, but it means that our partners in Delhi, India, and Kathmandu, Nepal, and Kabul, Afghanistan, are kind of on the outsides. We have Tina Grant on with us from New Zealand. And Tina, thank you so much. It's so good to see you again. And many of our partners who were with us last year in Geneva, Claire Hunter from Paris, France, Fatma Maghrahi from Istanbul, Turkey, and to welcome our new partners. Chris, it's great to have you from Africa and many of our wonderful partners there. And as we are growing that network, thanks to the work of Augustine Achu, native of Nigeria, who has worked very hard on developing our partnerships there. So this is our collaboration. This is our chance to come together and learn from each other, have those discussions, build a team of organizations who will help each other be stronger, who will build leaders for the future, empower those conflict survivors to do great things in the world, not just to survive, but truly to thrive. I'd like to begin today with a welcome message from the ambassador to the United States from the state of Qatar.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the third annual International Working Group for Organizations Caring for Families of Military Deceased. To our colleagues joining from across the world, thank you for taking time from your busy and important work to join us virtually. Thank you, Bonnie and the team at TAPS International for your dedication to this work and your continued service to the veterans and military community. We are gathered here today because we believe in the importance of investing in the future leaders of peace and stability, and are united in search for ways to turn the darkest of tragedies into the brightest of futures. We honor the memories and sacrifices of those who have passed in service of their country and support their families as they navigate the process of grief and recovery. We hope that this opportunity to connect with thought leaders and organizations dedicated to finding solutions is fruitful, and that all of our participants, regardless of role, exchange new ideas and approaches and strategies to assist in serving grief-stricken communities. Thank you.
Oh, what a wonderful message from the ambassador. The state of Qatar has been a fantastic supporter of our efforts and our work in peace building to enable those who have struggled, those who have suffered, to now become the future of their countries, to use their voice to empower the next generation. So let's go ahead and take a look at the delegates that we have with us. And while not everyone is present with us in the Zoom, we have representatives from Afghanistan, Australia, Canada, Colombia, which is a new partner. It's an organization called Matamoros, who is going to be expanding programs to work with the families of the deceased. Cote d'Ivoire is another new partner amongst our Africans, and we look forward to James being with us. We have representation from Egypt, Georgia. We're so proud to have the Guild of Service from India with us. They have a robust organization for war widows, and we so appreciate the work that they have done Israeli Defense Forces Widows and Orphans is a long-standing partner, and their work is tremendous. We'll be hearing more about their programs for children. We have both representatives from Baghdad, Iraq. Dr. Nada will be with us. She was there last year in Geneva and has a fantastic program on the future for women and children. We also have our friends in the north from Duhok, and they have been a new partner for us, but doing fantastic work to bring the children of Kurdistan together with American surviving children to help families who have been affected by the recent wars. So representation from Libya. Thank you so much, Fatma. You recently returned from Tripoli, and we are so grateful that you were able to go and able to accomplish so much and develop so many strong partnerships. The need is tremendous there, and we have an opportunity to bring hope and a better future. So New Zealand, Tina, we couldn't be more excited to see you. We love you so much, and we're so grateful that you are on. We're going to, throughout our 3 days, have country reports. Those will be informal conversations, learning about what you have been doing, where your needs are, and what more we can do together to build this strong community. Lily Thapa will be with us from Kathmandu, Nepal, and she has grown her program tremendously. She's a war widow who has done so much in coordination with the United Nations and women's rights throughout her part of the world. We have representatives from the Philippines, from Poland, from Qatar. Of course, Fatma is on from Turkey. We have our wonderful partners from TAPS Ukraine who have done so much this year. And despite the pandemic, we're able to have a national gathering of surviving military families done in a socially distanced, appropriate way, all protected, but they were able to come together in September. And we were so proud to be part of that and contributing to their event. We have quite a few partners who are going to be calling in and being part of the program from the United Kingdom, including the British War Widows, the Royal Air Force Widows, and also we will have Tessie Ojo, who is the CEO of the Diana Award. That's the program that honors the legacy of Princess Diana. It is Prince William and Prince Harry's legacy for their mother, and their primary causes are anti-bullying and mentoring, issues that are so near and dear to the work that we do for surviving families of the military and of conflict. So I'd like to now go over just a touch on the schedule to share a bit of what these next 3 days will look like. In this first session, we're going to be talking about our research and turning war grief into positive peace, giving the foundation of what brings us together and what we can build upon to become stronger as a global community. We're going to hear from the Deputy Minister of Defense in Kabul, Afghanistan. We're so grateful to have her with us. She is a global leader. She is a pioneer, and she will be speaking about the hope that can be found in Afghanistan, a country that has suffered greatly, but that has tremendous leadership now with her there. We are really excited to have Annika Hilding Norberg with us from the Geneva Center for Security Policy, who will be talking to us about cultivating the leaders for peace. So Annika, we're so grateful that you are with us once again, and we're excited to have you on, and we look forward to your presentation this morning. Each day we will take a break for 1 hour, and for some, it will be a meal break. For others, it will be a break to take care of the needs that you have there, wherever in the world you are. Then we will reconvene. Our sessions will always begin at the top of the hour. We anticipate most sessions will run for 45 to 50 minutes, allowing us each hour to have about a 10-minute break. So get refreshments, move around. It's very difficult to sit and be on Zoom for a long time. We know this after these past few months of social isolation and communicating on virtual platforms. So we respect that, and we want everyone to remain comfortable. We're going to start out in the afternoon with reports from our partners in Asia. And we'll look forward to those. And again, this will be our chance to ask questions, to engage, to really get to know each other better, to learn from each other, to offer solutions, and forge our way forward. We're very excited to hear from Saheli Eubank, who is currently in Thailand. She's going to be talking about the extraordinary work of her family, primarily now in Burma and Syria, areas of intense conflict. And the theme of her presentation will be Love Wins. The importance of looking in the eye of those who we think to be the other or formerly the enemy, and how we build bridges to ensure that we are peace builders, that we go forward into the future with hope and gratitude and opportunity to raise the next generation with opportunities, whether those are for emotional stability or economic opportunity or educational opportunity. That is our goal here. And finally, we're really excited to have the International Federation of the Red Cross Red Crescent and their psychosocial support entity who's going to be talking with us about psychological first aid. It's a fantastic tool that they have perfected, and we're so grateful that they will be on from Copenhagen, Denmark, to talk with us and provide training. So that's just what day one looks like. And I know the rest of these 3 days are equally as exciting, productive, informative, and inspiring. So let's go now and just talk about for a moment what brings us together, what truly unites us as a community. You know, we are bound because of our connection to loss as a result of conflict. Many of our loved ones were members of the military. They served their country. They were buried under the flag of our nation. They were honored in memorials and remembered in tributes. The sacrifices are unique. That also means that we are their living legacies, and we now have a unique opportunity, not only to heal, but to be a voice for all those who have suffered. For us, we can say with absolute moral authority that peace must be secured, that we must find a way forward, that we must heal and we must connect. We must build this global community. We must break down barriers and come to know each other, to transcend language difficulties and political differences. So what we are doing now is sharing the comfort and healing that we have found, that we have offered to grieving families. It looks different in every country, but by learning from each other, we find that actually we aren't so very different. We have far more in common that we have that separates us. We're going to talk about the ways that military service is honored and remembered in our countries. I've had the opportunity to visit many of you around the world, to see beautiful war memorials, tributes to the fallen, to see the way countries memorialize those who have served and died. So this is something that brings us together. It is a shared experience, and we can draw on that and use that to elevate our voice. Most important for these 3 days is to find our way forward through global collaboration, through elevating our voices, from providing opportunities for each other. Or learning what is happening in New Zealand can influence what's happening in Nigeria or Colombia or in Iraq or Afghanistan. To take the lessons of the India War Widows, a long-standing organization, or the British War Widows, organizations that have existed for over a century, and lend their experience to some organizations just now starting. We welcome our new partners, Colombia, Ukraine, Georgia, who are just beginning their journeys. And we tell you that you are not alone, that you have our support, you have our care, and you have our love. We are one family, remembering and honoring those who have served and died, and finding our way forward towards peace, security, and stability. I want to review now our declaration. And this was a declaration first drafted 2 years ago at the first annual gathering of organizations. It was signed at that time by 15 of the countries who gathered. And this week, on these 3 days, we're going to be referring back to it. And at the end of our 3 days, close out our session with a review, maybe an update, and a ratification of the words spoken here. So if you will indulge me, I will read these words, and I'd like for you just to really think about how profoundly important they are. Be it known by all, we, the families of those who have died in the cause of freedom, stand together in the light of justice against all those threatening the peace of our world. We unite with great purpose and with pride in our heroes' selfless sacrifice. We pledge to continue as their living legacies in honor of their sacrifice to heal our hearts and raise future generations in peace, freedom, and stability. The families of our deceased military are hereby united as a global community, interdependent upon one another. We commit to go beyond our borders, rise above political or religious differences, transcend language barriers, and unite with one voice in hope and healing. We recognize the need for a solid and sustained network of support and to maximize resources offered to all who are grieving the death of a military loved one. We stand together in our acknowledgement of the universality of our grief, our respect for all who have served and died, and our dedication to peace. In honor of our fallen heroes, our military deceased, and our martyrs, we will raise our voices as one global community, representing the families of those who have given their lives in the cause of freedom. For the support of this declaration, we mutually pledge to each other our honor for those who have served and died, and our care for their families. These are our words, and this is our opportunity. It is our call to action. It is our chance to truly make a difference in the world as the living legacies of all those who have sacrificed. We are first and foremost survivors, helping survivors heal. I'd like now to ask Dr. Chantal Dooley to join us to talk more about our model of care, a model that has now been published and is in the research, a model that has stood us well and that will serve all of you. We look forward to providing this as a resource, building upon it, and hearing from you if it resonates. All right, Dr. Dooley, thank you so much.
Hello and good morning, friends. It is so lovely to see so many of your faces again, and I so wish we were together in person, but I have to share that this brings me such peace and my heart such happiness even to see your smiles here today. Thank you for being here, and I am so honored to share with you that we are going to, we've submitted our article to a couple different journals for publication, and to support the model of the importance of survivors helping survivors to heal. That what brings us together, what unites us, is the common thread that we all share, which is the experience of grieving those that we loved and lost in service to our nation. One of the things that we have found as we were going through and combing through countless literature articles and countless reports and autobiographies, narratives, as we were doing the research, is that one common thing that has to happen in order for hearts to begin to heal is that individuals need an acknowledgement that the fact and the emotions that we are experiencing are grief. We are grieving because we have loved. And one thing that is really important is to make sure that that grief is not only acknowledged as an individual, but also at the community level, at the country level, and then at the national level. It is so important that there are opportunities to bring people together, to acknowledge the fact that the person that we loved, that meant so much in our lives, was here, they lived, they served, and now they are no longer here. The only things we have left are the legacies they have left behind that continue to live in our hearts and through our work that we continue to do in their honor. The other thing we know is that it is important that communities and organizations validate the grief that we have all experienced and that we continue to grow with by making sure that there are opportunities to memorialize our loved ones, saying their name out loud. We see this at the national level where we have National Days of Remembrance. And these days are so important to us because it helps to make sure that our grief will always be acknowledged and that our loved ones are never forgotten. The other important piece of this is that it's really important for organizations to help foster opportunities for survivors to come together to acknowledge their grief and to help validate the emotional response that they felt to the death of their loved one. Whether they're serving in the military, in law enforcement, or in a local citizen response to conflict, they gave their lives in defense of freedom for their country, their nation, their community. And what we honor is the life and service that they gave for so many others. The other important thing is while we acknowledge, we validate, and we foster communities, the next step of that is to help to compel survivors to take action for positive peace. Once grief is acknowledged and they're validated that they did in fact, have experienced this traumatic loss, then what to do next? And that very next step towards achieving the higher levels of resilience, greater gains in post-traumatic growth, lower levels of depression, anxiety, is to take action. And for us as an organization, that is to help take action for peace and to bring stability to raise the next generation in peace with love. You're going to hear so many incredible participants the rest of this week, and speakers and presenters that have been really stepping forward and taking action to do just that. We see the countries, we hear about the conflict. Many of you are on the ground working in those conflict zones, and then the next step is to make sure that the next generation is always raised in peace and stability. So how do we empower the next generation of leaders to move forward with peace? All right, well, thank you very much, and we look forward to sharing more the rest of this week. And I hope you'll be able to join us as we have some really, really phenomenal and inspiring presenters coming the rest of this week.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Dooley. That was a beautiful overview of the research that we are doing. Let's talk about some of the things that we have done. And I'd like to share something that I did actually many years ago. This was in Iraq when I spent a year in Baghdad. And it was just simply a survey from the war widows of Iraq and the war widows of America, asking them the same questions about their loved ones, about their grief, and about their loss. What we found was when the responses were translated and shared with each other, it was impossible to tell whose was whose. The emotion was the same, the grief was the same, because the love was the same. They were honoring their loved one who had served in defense of freedom. They were proud of them, but they were just beyond bereaved by their death and the tragedy of such a young loss. So this is just more of what brings us together. This next photograph was during a it was during a visit, and again with widows and orphans of war. While we couldn't speak the same language, we could communicate from the heart. And it was a beautiful opportunity just to come together. It was a reminder that we need to be present. You know, even now, if it's virtually, we're coming together in this space, in this conference from across the world to get to know each other. I know language is a barrier at some point, but thank you for being willing to be present. And we look forward to finding more creative ways to communicate. We'll talk about the recognition of the military. As we've said earlier, so often our loved ones who have served and died are recognized for that service by the government. The flag drapes the casket in which they're buried. In many cities, there are war memorials to their lives to remember the fact that they selflessly served. This can be a source of great pride, but for many of our families, it's also a source of tremendous pain. We have some of our friends on now from England, and Remembrance Week and the wearing of poppies is one of the most beautiful traditions. Everyone in the entire country wears the poppy as a symbol of mourning for those who have died in the military. That's absolutely beautiful. We're going to talk a little more about how each of you honors your heroes in your country, ways that make us similar, and things that we can learn from each other. So look forward to that as we go forward. This is something that we'll be building upon throughout our week. So we're going to be talking about military grief. What is it? Why is it different? How is it complicated? Why is it unlike other loss in our society? In so many cases, it is someone who was young, fit, who stepped forward to serve, to do the right thing, to make a difference in the world, to create peace and stability. But instead, their life ended, and behind, they left a grieving family. So we have the opportunity to care for the families and to all those grieving a loss. You know, grief is not a physical injury or a mental illness. We only grieve because we love, so love is the foundation of the work that we do. It will be the theme of our program throughout these 3 days and throughout our international working group and our collaborations. Grief is so much a part of that broken heart, and we can come together to comfort each other, to find ways to give meaning and purpose to our loss, to the life of our loved ones, and to gain an understanding, give meaning and purpose, and create rituals. The memorials that we have seen around the world are absolutely beautiful, and the one that you see pictured here in the upper left corner is in Heroes Square in Tbilisi, Georgia. It is absolutely magnificent. Its pillars engraved, etched with the names of the fallen heroes. And then there is a light shining through that goes right up to heaven. It really does just let us know that our loved ones' light continues to shine, that they are remembered, and that they are always with us. There are beautiful memorials in virtually every city in the world, remembering and honoring those who have served and those who have sacrificed, paying tribute to the warriors who step forward in times of conflict to defend their country and protect their homeland and ensure that their own families lived in peace and stability.